Hey guys, it's Jess from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the start of a new reading vlog that I'm super excited for. So I had this idea already. I think someone posted it on one of my videos saying it would be a cool idea, and then I need to read Kerrigan Byrd's newest release, and I wanted to do that for a reading vlog. So I'm going to do reading a historical romance from each decade. So Kerrigan Byrd is going to be for the 2020s. Her book's coming out on Tuesday. I'm filming this on Friday, and it is, I think, The Devil in Her Bed, and I think it's the Devil You Know series. It's book number 3. I haven't read the synopsis yet. I'm not sure what it's about, but I'm really excited to read it. I do have an e-arc of that one. It's the only one on my TBR that's not in physical format. So I've picked out 4 other books to read for this reading vlog. I did pick out for the 2010s The Hellion by Christy Caldwell, but I DNF'd that after 3 hours of the audiobook. It was very confusing. I think a lot of people said in the reviews that it feels like it's not the beginning of a series, it's a spin-off. There were so many characters and everybody was already like in relationships and knew each other and had this background. I was very confused, and I didn't really like the narrator of it. His voice was so deep that it was really hard to listen to in my car, so I listened to it on my commute to and from work. So I decided to DNF that. Maybe I'll pick it up. Let me know if I should, but I had to pick a new book for the 2010s, and so the book I picked is While the Duke Was Sleeping by Sophie Jordan. I do have the audiobook for this downloaded on, I think it was only on Hoopla. I think I had to download it on because Libby, there was a wait. So I have it on Hoopla, and this came out in 2016. It's one I'm really excited to read. It is a historical romance rendition of While You Were Sleeping, which is the Sandra Bullock movie I watch every Christmas time. I love it so much, so I'm very excited to read this one. Having this pushed up to my TBR, this is on one of my, I think this is one of the ones I wanted to read this year, this whole series. So it's the first book in the Rogue Files. I've read The Scott of Mine, absolutely loved it, so I'm excited to start this series. Then for the 2000s, I've already started reading this one, and that is Much Ado About You by Eloisa James. This is one I've had pulled from the library for like 2 months now. I keep on renewing my loan. This one is the first book in the Essex Sisters series, and I'm confused. So I don't know, okay, I don't know who the hero is, and I was like, I gotta look on the back of this, because we start off with these 4 sisters being taken in by this duke. He's under the impression he's taking in like 4 young girls because the dad died, and in reality they're like in their 20s, and they've been living in Scotland, and their dad doesn't want them to marry anybody Scottish, so they aren't married yet. 3 of them are in their 20s, and their dad was obsessed with horses and horse racing, and so he dumped all their money into it, so they have no money, and their dowries are a horse for each of them. And so Tess is actually our heroine. I didn't know who our heroine was for a good like 30 minutes of the audiobook, because we'd get all the 4 sisters and all of them wanting to marry except for the youngest, who's like 15. Tess is our heroine, and there's 3 men, the duke that's watching after them, an earl, and his best friend Lucius, and I'm just like, who's gonna be the hero? And they're sitting around talking about like which one this, I think it was the earl, like wants for himself, and he decided he wants Tess. But I'm like, this can't be the hero, because I was getting some kind of vibes with Lucius and her, and I just read the back, and it looks like it might be Lucius who is going to be the love interest. I don't know. I was very confused. Like, I'm over an hour, I think I'm an hour and a half into the audiobook now, because I was listening to it on my way home and on my walk with my dogs, and I'm pretty sure Lucius is going to be the hero, but it's very good so far. I'm enjoying it. They all need husbands because they all have been waiting for that. So I'm excited to continue on. For the 90s, every book I want to read is from the 90s. Just gonna say that. I was pulling all these books off and I was like, nope, 97, nope, 96, nope, 92. So the one that I decided on for this, because I was hoping I had other 80s books on my shelves, but I don't, is going to be Devil's Bride by Stephanie Lauren. Everybody's read this and loved it in the romance community that I know. Everybody I know who's read this absolutely loves it. It's got your epic caped man step back. Stephanie Lauren is definitely a beloved romance author that I haven't read yet, so very excited to read this. I don't know much about it. It just, I think they get married, and that's all I know. So he's called Devil as well. And from the 80s, and that's gonna be The Lion's Lady by Julie Garwood. I really want to read another Julie Garwood, and the ones I kind of wanted to read by her were not in the 80s. This one I believe is 88. Oh, I didn't tell you. The Devil's Bride is from 98, and then this one is 88, and this one was 2004. I forgot to tell you the dates. But for this one, it just says she's taken London society by storm, she's gorgeous, and then Lion, who is an arrogant nobleman, steals a passionate kiss, and she's not easily conquered, so there's not really a plot on the back of this book, but I'm really excited to read this one. Give me some more Julie Garwood in my life. So these are all I am so pumped for. I'm so excited to read these. I'm so excited to read these authors. I cannot wait to read these. I'm so excited. Let me know what you think I'm gonna like and what you liked. I would love to hear, and I'm gonna go and get reading. Hey guys, so it is actually Sunday. I filmed the intro of this vlog on Friday, and I've already finished an entire book and halfway through another one. I've just been flying through audiobooks. I did finish the Much Ado About You, and I think that this one is not for everybody, but I actually ended up really loving it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think the audiobook is the way to go. The romance does end up playing out, but like I said, you can't really tell in the beginning who it's with. It's very slow, and like the first time they kiss seems really out of nowhere, and then there's a marriage of convenience in here, and then the romance really progresses, so they don't really fall in love until quite far into the book. So the romance really takes time to develop, so keep that in mind for this. But I really love the aspect of the backdrop of horse racing and like horse breeding, and how all the sisters really know about that. One of the sisters' love interests has a lot to do with that industry, and their father also was part of that industry, and so I liked how that was talked about a lot and involved a lot, because I do get to go to the races and stuff like that, and I just really enjoyed the romance. I do think that it was a little slow, but I did love all the sisters as well and how they're trying to get them in relationships. One of the sisters kind of did end up having a lot of drama in here with her romance as well, and I think that's going to set it up for her romance, so I'm actually really excited to read her book. But I think if I was reading this physically, I would have gotten too bored and annoyed with the plot, but because I listened to an audiobook and flew through it, I ended up really liking this. So 4 out of 5 stars. I'll put a little chart here to show my rating for each decade. So far with the 2000s, 4 out of 5 stars, not too bad. I really am happy that I picked this book up, but the next one I'm reading is While the Duke Was Sleeping, and I am already almost halfway through this audiobook. I am absolutely obsessed with it. So it's like the movie While You Were Sleeping. Oh, okay, it's called While the Duke Was Sleeping, but the movie's While You Were Sleeping. And she works in a flower shop. Her parents are dead, and so she's taking care of her sister. She's not really high class, and this Duke comes in every week, and she is totally enamored with him, in love with him. She's never really talked to him about anything other than flowers, but one day he gets into a fight and ends up being in front of a carriage, and she saves his life, but now he's in a coma, and the maid at the house hears her saying she's gonna marry him, and so she thinks that she's his fiance, which just happened in the movie, and she starts falling for, well, the romance is gonna be with the brother, who is actually Scottish and a half-brother, and I absolutely love him. They aren't on good terms, the brothers aren't, and so he is angry, and he like keeps on questioning her, and he's around all the time. And I love it. I love him so much. This romance is so good, and they haven't like fallen for each other yet. Like nothing has progressed that much, but she still is like coming by to check on her fiance, and I think it's really funny, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And I do like how she has a sister that she's taking care of. That was talked about a little bit recently, so I'm really enjoying this. I did go to Half Price Books, and I want to show you some books I got, so hold on. These are the ones I picked up. I'm super excited for this one. This is book 3 in a series, but I think you can read it as a standalone. I just love that cover. I found the step back original edition of Again the Magic. I didn't have this one, so I'm excited. This one, it looks like Devil's Bride, I feel like, by Stephanie Lawrence, but this one has really great reviews, so I'm excited to read this, and it was super cheap, so it's a pretty old historical, but a lot of people said it was their favorite. This one, it just looked really good, and the synopsis sounded really good, so I picked that up. I also found an Erin Harrington, and I loved If the Duke Demands, so I'm excited to read another one. This is book 1 in one of those series, and then this one has amazing reviews as well, and people were really excited that I picked it up when I showed it on Instagram, so I remember seeing it around, so I'm excited to read this one. Sorry if that felt like a quick update, but I have to take some Instagram pictures, and I've been filming a lot recently. I filmed like for the last like 40 minutes. So just wanted to update you guys on what I've been reading, and I'm going to continue reading While the Duke Was Sleeping and start Kerrigan Byrne's book, which I'm very excited for. I just actually filmed a historical romance reader tag, which I'm super excited for. I'm posting that on Monday before this goes up, so I will link that down below if you want to watch it. I'm wearing my Fabio sweatshirt in celebration of that video, but yeah, I'm gonna go take some Instagram pictures. I have to edit. I have an event today actually that I want to watch with Julia Quinn and Beverly Jenkins about the future of historical romance. I'm super excited to read that. I found out about it on Twitter because I follow Beverly Jenkins, so if you're not following her, you should, but those are my plans today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to work. Hey guys, so I'm here with Miss Lily. It is actually Friday. It's about 4:30. I got home from work and I worked out, And now I'm just hanging in my Hello Lovely sweatshirt. I just took a picture of it that I'm posting on Instagram today. But I want to update you because I am still reading Kerrigan Byrne's new book. I'm only 60% of the way through. I've been reading this for like 5 days. I haven't updated you, I think, since Sunday, and it's Friday, and I'm still reading this book. It's just not, I'm not loving it. And I was hesitant to go in because I know Lacey didn't love it. I know Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life didn't love it. And so I was like, dang, am I not gonna like it? And it's just fine, but there's nothing like making me want to read this. The premise is dark, the beginning. So her entire family and everyone she lives with is like massacred, and she's the only survivor, and she ends up taking on the identity of this, I think she was a countess who was her age and was the same like redhead as her. And do we see Miss Darcy coming all excited with that bone? That was so cute. It's close to dinner time. They always get super antsy when it's close to dinner time. But she took on the identity of the girl so that she would be like set for life and have the funding to like seek revenge. And she was like 9 when this happened, but now she's like a full grown adult and she's still trying to seek revenge, and runs into this guy who also has a secret identity. He's got like, he's a spy, so he's like 20 identities or something, and she's trying to figure out still what happened to her parents and like everybody in this massacre. And it's just okay, but like he still believes she's Francesca, which is the identity of the countess that she's pretending to be and has been her whole life. And so I wish she told this person who she really was from the start. I feel like I would have liked it a lot better that way, because I don't know how it's going to play out when that person finds out who she really is. So it's fine so far. Like, she's going into dangerous situations, trying to figure out things for herself, but I'm not like loving it, but I'm not hating it. I just like keep on falling asleep when I read it. So I just posted some office romance recommendations. I was really excited for that video, so check that out if you haven't yet. But really, that's all that's happening. I'm gonna hang out with my parents this weekend, and I'm vaccinated. I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm fully vaccinated now. I've gotten both doses. As a teacher, we finally got to go, and now it's been enough time that we got 2 doses, and I'm really excited. I did have some side effects, so I felt really, well, I woke up at like 2 a.m. with a really bad headache. Then I really couldn't go back to sleep, and then I felt really achy all over, and so I just like could not get comfortable and really tired. But that was it, so it wasn't too bad. But we actually ended up having to cancel school because all the teachers got it on the same day, and we knew we would because a lot of other school districts have already been canceling, but we just decided to cancel that morning when not enough teachers were gonna come in. So yeah, but I'm really excited that I was vaccinated. Yeah, so I'm gonna go read some historical romance. And oh my gosh, I am listening to audiobooks of contemporary romances, and I'm so bored by them. I'm like, can I go back to my historicals? So I'm just in a really historical mood right now, which is weird because I'm not getting through this one that I'm reading. I'm excited to start The Devil's Bride, hopefully next. So it is actually Sunday night. I've got little Miss Darcy here, Miss Lily here. My parents came over with their dogs today, and so they were crazy, and then we took them on a stroll, and I'm just reading. Okay, lighting's better. I did end up putting on The Mummy because Brittany from Brit's Books was watching it the other day, and I was like, I want to watch that now. And I worked on a little bit of my master's. I've got 2 weeks left, so trying to get ahead of myself and finish things up as soon as I can. But I had that on, and now I'm reading Devil's Bride. I did finish Kerrigan Byrne. I don't think I updated you guys. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. This is definitely not my favorite Kerrigan Byrne. My main issue with it was that Francesca isn't actually Francesca. We know that, but she doesn't tell the love interest until like 90% in, and I didn't like that she didn't tell him and kept that secret, because he was falling in love with her because he remembered her being Francesca. And like, of course it's like, well, no, you were falling in love with me this whole time, and how we like the things we've had together. But I just really didn't think that development was as authentic as it could have been if he knew all along who she was, because they had known each other when they were younger. And the like conflict was weird. I don't know, there was like this weird secret society thing going on, and I don't know if I loved it that much. So I think like too much was trying to happen in that, so 3 stars. But I'm starting this, and can we just admire that back cover? But I'm loving this. I'm only 25 pages in, and I'm already sensing, I can really tell the difference between something written in like the 90s and something written in the 2010s. So with Sophie Jordan's book, it reads so much like a rom-com. Like, it's very contemporary in a historical romance, the writing style. And so things like Sophie Jordan, Tessa Dare, Lorraine Heath, they're just so readable, and you can just pop the audio in, which is what I do for those, and just follow along no problem. It's not overwhelming. The romance is just fun and it goes by really quickly. And for this, it's so much more atmospheric and like there's a lot more done to develop the historical setting, I feel like, and the characters just are so vibrant. Like this is like Lisa Kleypas kind of writing. Like it's just so all-consuming, I feel like. And like in the beginning I like couldn't not focus. Like if my mind was drifting, I had to like reread what I had missed because every little detail is important to this story. That's definitely not like Sophie Jordan. I can like drift off and come back and like not really have missed anything. And in this one, it just takes a lot more to, I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. It's hard to explain. It's just like so much more atmospheric with his writing. And like we're 25 pages in and I'm already obsessed with these characters and their romance. So she is a governess, but she really wants to like travel for a living. And so she's riding her horse, gets stuck in a storm and finds like a shot body, like a body that had a bullet hole in it, and he's like dying. And so then her horse runs away and Devil shows up, and just like the moment they meet is just like perfect. And when he has to like take off his shirt to like clot the wound, right? And so she's like, I saw one raindrop hit his back and slide down his back, and just like this whole imagery of this perfect man was hilarious. And like even still she's like admiring him, and like it's hilarious. Like I just read it where she talked about how he had that tanned male skin, had her battling a fierce urge to press her fingers to it, to spread her hands across the warm expanse, to curve her palms about the hard muscle. And it's just like this tension that's already being created is amazing. The atmosphere, we're in a cabin in the woods in the middle of a storm, and this man is dying, and there's chemistry between these two people, and it's just like you don't get this today. And Lisa Kleypas blurbed this, so I feel like this really reminds me of like a Lisa Kleypas book. So it's just so good right now. Just like, oh, you can't get this anymore. I feel like this kind of writing, I don't know. I'm gonna continue reading. And Jen from Book Refuge said that she loved this, and someone else messaged me that they loved it. I don't remember who it was right now, but people are excited. I'm gonna continue reading, and I hope I continue loving this. Hi, we're just lounging, aren't we? So cute. You're so cute. And we have Miss Lily. Hey guys, so I understand this sweatshirt is from 2007. Does anybody else still wear their Washington DC sweatshirts from their 8th grade field trip? Because this is still so soft and I still wear it all the time. And I wear my FBI sweatshirt that I wear all the time is my brother's. And he went to DC in 2005? 2 years before me. This is 2007 when I went. So that black sweatshirt I wear literally at least once a week is from 2005. So it's still perfect condition. I think the sleeve's getting a hole in it, but other than that, it's so comfy. But I'm here because I have an update. It's Thursday already, but I have only made it halfway through this. I've been reading it all week. I was talking about how amazing the beginning was, and it was, but now I'm almost 200 pages in and nothing's happening. So he's like determined to marry her, and he's like, well, you're basically ruined because like we spent the night in the same cottage together with his dead body, and so like we need to marry. And he's like super into her and wants to marry her, and she's like, no, I'm independent, I want to go to Africa. No. And they're still trying to figure out who killed his cousin, because that's like the dead body they were with, and that's been happening for 200 pages. So literally nothing's been happening. Like they've been trying to figure out who killed his cousin, and they're like not even like going places to do this. They're just like coming back and reporting. I'm bored. So it's been taking me forever to read this, but I had to put this down because I've decided to change my 80s book. So I was gonna read The Lion's Gift, but I have to read this Once and Always by Judith McNaught. I have to read this by Saturday, and it's Thursday night, so we'll see how that goes. But this one came out in 1987. So this is gonna be my 80s book, and I'm already a little bit nervous because I've heard there's consent issues about halfway through. A lot of reviews say the first half is amazing, they love it, and then something happens like halfway through and they're like the second half was really bad. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. It's really long though, and I should not have waited this long to this close to the live to read this because the live show's on Saturday. but it's almost 400 pages long. But it's okay, I'm gonna read it. All I know is that she falls in love with her distant cousin. So we'll see. I feel like this is always a great book to like encapsulate the 80s. So we'll see how it is. Sorry, I'm not reading Julie Garwood? Yeah, I think that was Julie Garwood. I really want to read that soon, but I just have to read this for this video. So we'll see how this goes. Hey guys, so I'm here with Little Miss Darcy. It's actually Friday now, and I am 100 pages into Once and Always, and I'm enjoying it, but the writing style is a little bit interesting. So she's writing, I was trying to think this through in my head. She's writing in third person omniscient, so she knows everything, right? And it'll swap, like I'm used to third person limited alternating chapters. So like it's third person limited for the man and then it's third person limited for the woman, or like we switch chapters and get different perspectives. But in this one, it'll be like a paragraph and then immediately the next paragraph, it'll be someone else's perspective, like in third person. And I get really confused and I'm like, oh, it's this person. It like kind of like will jump back a little bit and then come back forward. And I just am not used to this kind of writing style because it's always either first person or third person limited clearly by chapter. So it'll switch like, or like a page break, you know, like the break in the page and then it goes to a new scene. It won't do that. It needs that, but it doesn't do that. So it gets a little confusing with this perspective, but I am enjoying it. So they're growing a little bit closer. So like they're becoming friends now. But what's really awkward is that like they're cousins, right? And the uncle, she's like going to live with the uncle and the uncle's illegitimate son, so her cousin, and her uncle was actually like madly in love with her mother, and now she's there and the uncle put an announcement in the paper that she's marrying his son, her cousin. And so she was like really mad about that. And then Jason, our main character, which I think Jason is not a typical British name in the 1800s. I don't think it is, but maybe they had Jasons. I meant to look that up. Let me know if you think that's weird or not. His name is Jason. But he, what was I gonna say? Like, they don't like each other, but then they start to become friends, and it's just like, oh, well, why don't you think of me as your cousin? Because I am your cousin. And I'm just like, this is so weird because they're supposed to fall in love and they're cousins. And it's just like, they keep on talking about the fact that they're cousins. If they didn't, I would be fine. But they keep on talking about how they are cousins and we need to see each other like cousins and just become friends. That's a little weird. So it's pretty good so far though. It's going by pretty fast, so I'm excited to continue reading. It's very readable though. Like, it's going by quickly and I don't feel as bogged down by the writing as I did in Devil's Bride. For Devil's Bride, if I like zoned out, I had to like go back and reread, and that's not the case with this one. Not that I zone out a lot, but you know what I mean? Like, you really have to pay attention in Devil's Bride, and this one you don't, which is interesting because this is from the 80s and Devil's Bride is the 90s. But yeah, they both kind of have like the brooding hero. So the beginning started with him losing his wife, who he hated anyways, and his child. And so I feel like that is a very common trope in like every historical, no matter what time period, but especially the 80s and 90s, where the hero is just so damaged and brooding and broken because he's lost someone or had like a damaged childhood or something. So it's going great though, so I'm gonna continue reading and I'll get back to you. I did get some Hello Lovely mail. I'm wearing my Hello Lovely sweatshirt today. It was Wear Purple Day for the Clothesline Project to bring awareness to domestic violence. So I wore this sweatshirt to school today, and I got a couple more sweatshirts in the mail and my Bridgerton t-shirt of Penelope and Eloise. So I'm excited for those, but I'll show you guys them in a sec. I did get this book in the mail, which I'm excited for. And then I got this hoodie, which my sister's already claimed is hers. I got this sweatshirt, which is I Want to Love That's Out of This World, which I got because of Ice Planet Barbarians, obviously. This one's for me. And then Penelope and Eloise, my t-shirt. I'm so excited to wear this. I just love everything. I do get a gift card from them every month as a rep, so these are my rep shirts and I'm super excited. My code is PEACE15 if you want to save 15% on your own stuff. Hello everyone. It is currently Saturday evening. It's actually almost 6:30 and my live show's at 7 and I just finished Once and Always, which is behind me. You okay? My puppies are so tired. We went to my parents' house this morning and they literally did not sleep all day, so they're very tired. But I finished and this is one of the books where when it's old school, you don't know what you're gonna get because this one has a lot of consent issues. I hated Jason, our main character, our love interest, and I'm giving this 2 stars. So the book itself isn't bad. So I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of this book, but there is a marriage of convenience in here, and there is a rape scene in here. It is non-consensual. Our heroine, I'm blanking on her name, Victoria, she does not want it, and he does not make it enjoyable for her. There's a point where he says, I could have stopped and like prepared her, and I didn't. And he does feel remorse about what he did, but there is absolutely zero groveling in here. It turns into Victoria trying to win him back. I was like, girl, you did nothing wrong. This is ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. He was so rude to her. He threatened to beat her so many different times. And this is the case where he's the epitome of the damaged bad boy, and she needs to fix him. And she's the only one who can fix him. That trope is something that's been recycled through romance. Like, this is something in the 80s, and this is something that with new adults back in like the 2010s was a huge thing. The mean damaged bad boy who needed to be fixed, and she's the only one who can change him. That's been around forever, and this goes to show in 87 that was still the thing. He has a really, really horrible past, and she learns about it. That doesn't excuse his behavior. I do not care what your past is. You are not going to rape someone and abuse them. So I feel like we were supposed to care for him and understand why he acted the way he did. Absolutely not. So I did really love the staff that worked at the estate that she lives with him. I loved their characters, and I did enjoy this like kind of family feud going on between her grandmother and Charles, her uncle. It is weird though, he is her cousin. Like, there's no question about that. He's her cousin. Jason is. But like, I really loved all the secondary characters. I was enjoying the romance in the beginning and her trying to figure out English society. She even like gets a rundown of who like a duke, an earl, and a marquess are. Like, I really like that, because then it's like, well, I'm trying to understand that all too as an American reader. But it had all the problematic elements of old romances that I am very wary of when I pick these up. So he was just not a good hero, and I can never stand behind a hero who sexually assaults their main character. I just can't. I know some people can like root for them to be together, but absolutely not. There's nothing attractive about that to me. I did not enjoy this. I know people love this book. It did have a 4.19 rating on Goodreads. That's why Samantha and I chose it. We didn't see that many bad reviews, and I feel like we should have like gone in and looked deeper, because like 4.2 rating on Goodreads is good for a book with a awful hero. If you enjoyed it, that's fine. I just can't stand behind that kind of hero, so I did not enjoy this. So I just have Devil's Bride left to read, and I'm gonna try to finish that tomorrow. So far we have a 3-star, a 4.5 star, a 5-star, and right, a 5-star. I think I had a 4-star. I haven't had a 5-star yet. 3-star, 4-star, 4.5 star, 2-star. I don't see Devil's Bride being a 5-star, so I hope it gets better, like, because it's really slow right now, like I had said when I was talking about it. So hopefully this one picks up. We'll see. Hey guys, so it is Sunday, and I am 100 pages from the end of Devil's Bride, and it's getting really good. I really like their romance. Devil is like so into her, completely opposite to Jason from the last book. He really, really likes her and shows her he likes her, and even like wouldn't let her sleep with him until he knew she was sure she liked him, and like wanted to marry him because he wanted her to marry him. That's the whole point of this book, is that he they ran into each other and then like spent that night in that cabin, and then like he had ruined her. He's like, well, I know I really like her, she's my wife. So that's really nice. He's not pressuring her into anything and making sure she's he's adamant that she needs to be sure she wants to be with him before they sleep together, because then it's like she's completely ruined and they have to marry each other. And it's sweet like that. But like, I know Lacey had said something about like a 30-page intimate scene in here. They're long. There have been multiple like 10+ page sex scenes in here, and they're kind of getting redundant at this point. I'm like, okay, like, we still are not even close to figuring out who killed the cousin. And so I only have 100 pages left, and this feels like it's been the point of the plot, is just to figure out who killed the cousin, and I want to get back to that. So I don't know if it's a 90s thing or just a Stephanie Lawrence thing, but I'm a little over all of them and how excessively long they are. So yeah, hopefully we're done, because I just got finished with another one. So hopefully we don't have any more for a while, because it was like 4 in the span of 100 pages that were like 10+ pages long. So like half the pages I just read in 100 pages were all steamy scenes, and I'm just like, can we get to like the point now. Like, I get you like each other. So yeah, like, I don't mind those scenes, but when they get excessive, I'm like, is there really a point to them anymore, or are they just there? So I need to finish this tonight and then I can post this video. I'm so excited to post this video. It's just been fun being able to see how different each decade is from one another. So it's really clear reading them all back to back to back. Like, they're different aspects of them, because like now this is actually getting a lot easier to read after like we've been introduced to everybody, but it definitely feels older to me. So I have finally finished Devil's Bride, and I just talked for like 2 minutes and realized I wasn't actually recording, so I will start over. But I ended up really loving this. The romance itself was just adorable. So they were madly in love with each other. It was just a passionate, all-consuming romance that at the end, when someone was trying to kill Devil, that was like what was happening for like the last quarter of the book, and they both were putting themselves in harm's way just to make sure that no one was going to kill each other. So like when one of them like figured something out, they would go out and like almost die to try to protect the other one. Like both of them did it. Honoria and Devil did it. I think that's how you say your name, Honoria. It was adorable and it was a lot of fun. I do think that the villain was pretty obvious. I thought he was the bad guy the moment we met him, and he was, and I just didn't know like why, and he like kind of why but not really why, and we had that whole like, oh, I'm gonna confess everything to you at the end kind of thing. But it was fun. I really loved their romance. Like, it was really sweet how much Devil like loved her and wasn't afraid to admit that he loved her, which I really appreciated, and she of course loved him too. So I'm giving this 4 stars. I do think it was still a little slow, especially in the middle part was really slow. The end went by really fast, but the middle was pretty slow. So this one though, 4 stars. I love the whole just like obsessively in love with each other kind of plot line, and how there was a little bit of some like thrillery kind of actiony suspense thrown in, which I don't know if we get that a lot in the 90s. I don't know, but I just really like this. So overall, here are my rankings of all of the romances I've read. So the 80s one, unfortunately, not really surprisingly, was the worst. You never know when you're reading those 80s romances whether they're gonna have consent issues or not, and unfortunately this one did, though it was surprisingly very readable and went by very fast. And I did love our heroine, and this one I loved our heroine. So that got a 2 star. The 90s got a 4 star, very high 4 star, very pleasantly surprised. Slow beginning, but great development. And then the 2000s was, I feel like, a step up from this in terms of like the romance. It again like starts off kind of slow, but the romance is really cute, and that's more of like a whole, they all have like family things. So like this one, it was all the brothers, the Sinster brothers, and in that one it's the 4 Essex sisters. So historicals really like the whole family aspect, but I gave this one 4 stars for the 2000s. 2010s, we're getting into the rom-coms. Like, it's definitely very contemporary in a historical setting. So that one I gave 4.5 stars. And then my last one, Kerrigan Burns, for the 2020s. I don't know if I can necessarily say this is going to set a trend for this decade, but it got 3 stars. It focused a lot more on the other plot that I wasn't really interested in. It had like secret societies and like all these crazy things, and I just wasn't in love with the romance. But I think it was just for this book because she was hiding who she was the whole time. So that got a 3 star. So the middle of the decades all got 4 stars, and then the ends didn't really do it for me. But this was a fun video. Let me know if you enjoyed this, if you want me to do it again. I would love to know. Let me know what your thoughts are on the different patterns in the decades. Like, what do you think is like something that is like the epitome of that decade? I would love to know. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.